wants to work this time. Well. Okay, there we go. Awesome. Cool. Welcome in. How we doing? How we feeling? Did it happen again? Are you serious? Am I just able to stream? Is that what I'm just not allowed to do because it freezes again? Because it froze on my laptop. If it froze my laptop, it just means it's not working. Yeah. Oh, no, it's back. My laptop's just being weird then. Cool. I'm at a library right now, but I'm doing well. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm just in a library right now. Welcome in. How we doing? Welcome in. How we doing? How we feeling? No, I haven't seen anything. I haven't got anything back from the Instagram thing yet. I should hear back from him by today. And if I don't, then I don't know what I do. I guess I contact him again or something. I'm not too sure. Welcome in. How we doing? How we feeling? read the title. That's what we're doing today. Come in. I've been well. How have you been? Yeah, I just said I'm fine. Well, that's on you, not on me. If you look too much into it and you sense something, that's because you and your mind and your body is doing that. That has nothing to do with me, everything to do with you. So, what you pick up is just your own representation of your own self, through your own vision of something else. So, yeah, I know. I'm fine. Again, like there's nothing like wrong over here. That's like a you thing where where you're looking at it and not realizing what's going on. majority of people don't realize that they do it, and that's just because they don't really understand how they work, or how the brain works, or how feelings work in general. The other half of the people, or the other half of the mind at least, does it as a sense of quote unquote protection when it doesn't really protect anything. It all just roots from denial, a lack of seeing things from like your own state, and playing the scapegoating game of seeing it as something else or someone else, rather than seeing it as like, their own. But it's mainly just the fact that it's forgotten. Well, that's the whole like common sense thing. Like that's like forgotten knowledge right there. People have forgotten that things all root from you because we've been stuck on this scapegoat run for the past however long it's been. So people don't realize it down to even the smallest degree. The more you work on it, the more you realize it. But a lot of people just aren't aware of it. Sometimes people are aware of it to a small degree and they just don't care, but for the most part, a lot of people just aren't fully aware of it or care to be. That's not what tarot was used for, Randy, so I don't do readings on stuff like that. I do actual tarot readings. So it's donation based, so however much you feel. Yeah, a lot of people take the route of scapegoating because it's just easier. It's easier to blame it on something. Like, it's easy in a lot of people's minds, honestly, because it's like default for a lot of people. It's easier to blame it's easier to blame the chair that you kicked rather than your leg, because it was, you and your leg. It's easier to blame the chair than yourself in that sense. And a lot of people run off that mentality, and that stretches out to the on people like, oh well, it's not my fault that happened. It's so and so's fault because if it so and so didn't do this and that. But what did you do beforehand to allow those things to happen? You know what I mean? Will things get better for you this month if you start working on getting better now? That's the only answer for that. Tarot's not used for future prediction because that's not how things work. The only way you can dictate the future is by dictating now. So if you want things to get better, you need to start doing better in this present moment. It is delusional. But again, it's like these are things that people aren't even like taught about. You end up just like uh doing it as like a default habit without really getting checked on it or like knowing that it's something, unless you like snap upon it one day. But like it's something that people just aren't taught. um so that's just why it happens. You as well. Have a great day as well. But yeah, it is a big delusion. Don't let it stress you out though. um because at the end of the day, you being around people like that is also a reflection of yourself in that sense. So seeing all the people around you who are like in that denial, you almost have to like stop and check yourself and see what you're in denial of, as well. Um, you know what I mean? So kind of make sure that you're not like in a denial of removing your from people sooner than you need to or anything of that nature. Well, that's the thing, though. You do check yourself subconsciously. Even if you're not fully aware of it, you always check yourself because you're always observing all, like, everything that you're doing. Even the unaware parts are being seen. So, you know, it's not even the fact that, um, no, like, they're not even checking themselves as they are. It's just some people are not, their brains are just not wired that way. You can't expect someone else to hold up that exact standard. He possesses your friend. Well, unfortunately, you are around him because if you are picking up him and his physical being around someone else, that means that you're obsessed with them. So the reason why it's popping up isn't, because of anything else other than you. So again, kind of where it's happening with here, where you're seeing everything, you're also needing to see it where you're projecting and you're creating that happening. Why are you comparing and why are you picking up that energy is around that person? Why is it that it has to be that X? What's going on with that individual, or whoever this is, and like your friend, because that's, again, like, that's a you thing. So even though you might be aware of how it's projecting externally with the rational mind, you have to also check yourself and see where you're laying at, because if you're out placing labels and doing that on other people, then you've already projected those labels and accepted those things on yourself. So where are you in your positioning to being possessed? And this possession would be by that memory, the feeling of, that person and them possessing your friends. So that's where you have to check yourself out of that. Well, I mean, you are obsessed with them because if you weren't, then they wouldn't be around you, because nothing comes to you unless you call it to you. So the fact that their energy keeps getting called to you is because you're wanting it. So you need to figure out why you keep attracting it. It doesn't matter, and no one can come to you unless you allow it to. That's the whole thing. That's where your power comes in. So again, this is a thing where you're needing to look at where you're not seeing that, where you're in that denial stage. And this might be the denial stage where it is where you're not saying that you're not obsessed with them, though if you weren't, they wouldn't be a part of like your energy field. It wouldn't be a part of like something that you'd be dealing with, especially on the physical, in that sort of sense. Because you can't go around pointing fingers at everyone else and saying it's, everyone else is doing this and that without seeing that it's coming from you as well, because that wouldn't be around you unless you also were taking part of it. Welcome in. How we doing? How we feeling? Doing well, doing well. I am doing well. Cannot complain. And thank you, I appreciate that. Does the divine need to know today? Tarot can't tell you what spirit use for. If you're wanting to know what spirit or the divine's wanting to tell you, that involves with you and your own contact, or just using a Ouija board. All tarot's going to do is tell you about what the relativity between you and yourself and what's keeping you from halting, or what you're doing internally. That's all it's going to tell you about. It doesn't tell you in messages from spirit. It doesn't contact with the divine. It's none of that stuff. That's not what tarot is about. Messages from the divine come from the heart space, not from the cards. The cards tell you how to tap into the heart space. They can help you connect with that self, the divine yourself, without relying on a middleman. But as far as getting messages from from spirit or anything of that nature, you got a Ouija boards for that. Welcome in. How we doing? How we feeling? Yeah, it's been a while. No, the cards are not messages from spirit. That is a false teaching. Tarot cards do not have any messages from spirit. That's just a lie. This is a straight up lie, unfortunately. People just aren't ready to admit it yet. we doing? How we feeling? How we doing? How we feeling? Welcome in, welcome in. I'm doing well. How are you? I can't complain. No Dex. Ready to wait. Good old Raider wait. Word Raider wait. The Raider wait deck. I probably shouldn't have shuffled instead of at the same time, but it just did not click with me. It just didn't click with me at all. What's up? I should not have opened my DMs. Honestly, I don't think I need to read that message because that was out of pocket. Cool. I gotta stop opening up messages when I get them. But yeah, what's your question? Where did I put that actually? I did. I got you. And it's preferred to have a question. But if not, I can do a general. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, your first card with this is the Six of Wands upright. And with the Six of Wands coming out first with how to deal with these emotions from the abandonment and neglect, is really focused on the connectivity towards yourself. A lot of neglect and abandonment come from a lack of external achievement awareness, in a sense, where you aren't really picked up or seen in like a gratitude or like in a grand light in a sense when doing things. So kind of looking at yourself, giving yourself more credit for things that you have been doing. Even if you already do that, do so whether looking at yourself or do it when you're when you're in like a state of vulnerability, because there is a need to move forward. There is like a victorious energy. There is something about like you either not I mean either needing to look at the achievements that you've had in the past already, or that you've already found a way to kind of like heal from this before, or how to work with it before, that needs to be like looked at again for that sort of thing. But regardless, it's with six being there, it's time to like make it more of a spiritual thing instead of focusing on like the physical, what focusing what's advantage you on the physical. Like pay attention to the effects of that, but then translate it spiritually. Like, what does this translate spiritually? What does the lack of this represent within myself? What would that mean? Is that like a lack of care for self? Is that a lack of responsibility? Is that like a dignity? How is that going forth? And with the Five of Swords, it does have a lot to do with the past. um how the past kind of like, you could, this even just with the fireworks all together, it is talking a lot about like past like cycles repeated because of like your senses, like a nervous system response. So you might even just be feeling these feelings just in this era because of like a recent trigger that happened. And you're not really being sent back there, as like a, as punishment or to like belittle you. It's just in that sense of like there's parts of you that need to be healed from there. And it involves kind of seeing and giving yourself more grace in those areas. um you know it could just be like a lack of communication. That communication can also be like translated towards like travel or something. And just giving yourself more grace in that sort of sense. Or if this is about like a specific individual, whatever they made you feel, or like the activities that you all did, um giving yourself grace for the times that you were able to do so like by yourself before even like having that sort of connection, or however, right? But regardless, there is a need to spiritualize what you're going through now, with all the green being here, with the red over top of the green on the six, and then the green over the red on the five. There is a need of like changing consciousness altogether. There's just a need of changing what your rational mind is kind of focusing and feeding on, because it is blocking out a lot of like past achievements, or past strong walls that you've had that kind of have been taking hits and getting weaker. um mm. It could be a calling to cleanse that energy out of the house as well. um it could just be coming to you to have that sort of like physical victory as well. Because even though the five represents your five senses, that it goes to your whole like nervous system, that goes to feeling. But there, I mean, this does have to do with like about a spiritual feeling. So you might even have like what would be termed a revenant or a banshee, just of either like a feminine spirit, which would be that feeling, or a feeling that's stuck there, sort of because of that regret, of that lack of healing. Um, it could just be coming to you in a sense of like needing to do some regression work with your inner child as well. Um, but I would definitely look into that. But definitely, and especially because I don't know, especially with the Five of Swords even here, even more now, because the Five of Swords does have a lot about looking back in the past. You could just be wanting to relive past certain past memories, certain past, because with the swords, the thoughts, memories, right? Certain past memories that like really enlightened you and made you feel happy, but you don't get that same feeling anymore because you yourself have changed, with the green over the red on there signifying a new consciousness, a new way of seeing things, um and instead of looking for those old people to bring that sort of that same feeling back, it's moving forward. You could just be in a lot of like my god, what is that word called? What is it called? You might just be going through like guilt. Um but not necessarily, but I don't even want to call it guilt. It's something else. It's not guilt. Um but it's like guilt in a sense. You know what I mean? I don't know what I'm trying. I know what I'm trying to say. I don't remember the word. But it's like a form of guilt. It might be like a survivor's guilt or something, but it definitely seems like you're trying to relive like a version of the past, and not like for a bad reason, but there's like a home there, but you can't be around those people in that sense. Yeah, kind of like shame. That's the word I was thinking of. But definitely like doing some inner child regression work. Um, And I mean, even I mean, like, because we've talked, having your gifts as a child definitely, and with the 6 and the 5, even seeing like how your gifts, like with specific memories and stuff, how your gifts affected you then as a child to how it affects you now, and lending your younger vibrational self, like the healing, the nurturing from that. Yeah, I'm in a library right now. Well, I can't really help you because I'm not around those birds. I can't hear what message they have. So I wouldn't be able to really help you with that message without knowing that bird and knowing what call it was making. Um, but I got you, Nick. No worries. What's happening in your life? A reflection of who you are. That's what's going on in everyone's life. Everyone's life is just a reflection of who they are. Whether or not that wants to be actualized or not is up to the individual, to individual. Um, but that is what's going on. It is a direct reflection of things that have been ignored internally and now have to be dealt with externally, uh, because it floods the mind, and as the mind demands, nature supplies. But yeah, I'm in a library. I honestly forgot the camera was even there. When you mentioned that, I looked, I was like, oh, there is a camera up there, isn't there? Completely forgot. And welcome in, welcome in. How we doing? How we feeling? Thank you. No, I didn't get the money for the bust yet. I have not got that yet, unfortunately. Well, it doesn't really. It's not. I shouldn't say unfortunately, because it's not really as if like anything bad is happening. But no, I haven't made the money yet for that. But things are moving in the background, so not to talk about it or anything, but things are moving in the background, and that's just how we're gonna keep it. I've already been told to lay low, and especially after having the Instagram being hacked, and then having some like white car pull up on me yesterday, I'm okay. Like, I'm just gonna not talk about anything. Because if I got eyes on me that way, I'm okay. They can just watch and see where I pop up next. It'll be fun. It's like whack-a-mole. But that's how close we're getting to breaking all this stuff out. It just gets me excited because I don't know. The more stuff that happens, the more the better I'm gonna feel, kind of, in a way, because it's just gonna let me know that like things are moving forward. That it's not just me saying that they're moving forward. So I'm happy with it. But if I don't get my Instagram back today, I'm gonna end up making a new one. Oh god. It's gonna be so funny. I get to re-upload all those videos again. Good thing. I don't have all of them, do I? Well, no, I do. They're on YouTube. Never mind. I just download them from there. Saved. So yeah. Don't know if you have any messages. Got any questions? Eventually I will. That's the one thing I know. And what's most important for you to focus on right now? I don't even need the cards to tell you that. I could use one card and tell you that, really, but the most important thing for you to focus on is yourself. To focus on the connectivity you have with Mother, to connecting back to the feminine, to the heart, to operate from that, and removing the toxic rational mind habits of always being one-sided in that sense. That's the most important thing to focus on. Remember to always, remind yourself that there's not a reason for you not to have peace. There's never not a reason for you to not be able to relax or do what do what you love. Definitely staying away from dogma will help you with that. Remembering that like half the internet is fake as well. Yeah, you can ask. That's the whole point of getting a reading. No, you don't gotta ask if you gotta ask. That's how tarot readings work. How do you know? How does the reader know what subject matter the cards are referring to if they don't know, what they're reading? That's just reading tarot. If they're not letting you ask, a question, they're not reading actual tarot. They're just scamming you off rip. They don't actually care about you. They just want to tell you some bullshit and you get their money. And even if they aren't getting money, they just want your attention. What are you supposed to do in the world? Nothing. You're supposed to focus on yourself and do what you desire. It's not about what the world wants you to do. It's about what you desire and what you want to do. That's what you're supposed to do. What your heart desires, not what the world does. You don't need a card to answer a question as simple as that. I'm a tarot reader. I know what these cards are. I know what tarot is. I know what the answers to basically any question someone can ask me because I know what life is. The cards might not give you that exact answer, but they'll give you ways and routes of how to do that. A fake tarot card reader would have drawn an actual card and allowed a card to hopefully make sense of that question that they wouldn't know how to answer. If they knew how to read the deck, though, they would be able to answer it. Just trust me. Who are you? You are a soul. You are a ghost in a literal shell. That's who you are. After that, you get to define who you are. Whether that you're going to define yourself based off of how the world sees you and sees how you like things, or if it's just going to be based on yourself. Regardless, you are a offspring of mother and father, the divine mother and the divine father. So all else shouldn't really matter. Well, based off of right now, I would see someone that's kind of just confused. Or at least someone that's going to go down the path of finding answers within the next 10 years. Because future prediction does not work the way that you would think it does. Your mentality after the next 5 seconds could change, which then would change your entire future's direction. So, based off of right now, hopefully down a path of finding answers and steering away from BS and dogma. But what happens after our interaction is up to you. So, I don't give bullshit, dude. I'm real and upfront with this stuff because I'm not here to spread lies and confusion and be a part of the hive mind stuff, dude. I'm here to bring people out. Everyone's like, let's break out of the matrix. I'm like one of the very few people who's actually like, hey, why don't we look at it this way instead of going down the same rabbit hole? Let's look at the other options that are like surrounding us. You're here to save humanity? Save yourself to save humanity. Save yourself to do anything. Don't worry about saving other people. You'll kill yourself before you save someone. You just gotta save yourself. Focus on yourself. Save yourself, and through your own actions and your own path, you'll inspire others to do the same. That's all we can do. And as long as you're doing that, you're on a path. You're doing it. Through prayer, that's what's up. Whichever way you've been, granted access to do it with is the way that you do it with. And no matter what, it's supported. I don't believe in anything. I don't have a belief system. I have things that I know, and then I have things I don't. And I know of El Elyon, and I know of Ra, and I know of Anu, and other higher powers, but to refer to any of those as the plural word of God, no, I don't. Any guidance on love? Love yourself. And if you're wanting to attract anything, give it to yourself first. How you treat yourself now is how your future partner will treat you whenever you get with them, because that's the point of gravity. You know, that's the center point of mass from where you're going to be manifesting from. So if you're wanting to manifest better love, begin to be easier, treat yourself a bit lighter, and go forth on that path from then. What did I say about weed? And it definitely stunts growth within the mind, if you're going to talk about it in a spiritual sense. What about knowing if someone loves you? Love is unconditional. Even when someone says that they don't like you and they hate you, even when someone goes out and kills someone, there's a loving factor behind it. The only reason why anything in this world is connected is because they love each other. Not that they get along, it's because there's an actual love bound by this world. So don't worry about if someone else loves you or not. Love is unconditional. Everyone loves everyone. It's just that fact that no one can see it. Everyone's either too scared to show it or so blocked off from seeing it that they can't even see it. And then never being afraid to express love either. If you're wondering if someone loves you, just say that you love them. It doesn't have to be a scary thing. It doesn't have to mean anything. Love is just simply a state. But what if it's a lie? Love is not a lie. You can't fake love, or it's just not love. That's just how it is. The love that exists in all of us is not a fake love. That's impossible. Without that true love being there, their body just would not be here. There is love within everyone for everyone here. There's, again, just a lack of seeing it. And that's because we've been stripped so much and so far away from the feminine inside of us that we haven't been able to tap into it and see that internal love flow from us to everyone else. Staying out of the mind, being less judgmental upon things, makes it easier to see and accept that sort of love in that way. What do you mean? What do you mean you don't know? Why do you say that someone's out of your league? Why are you putting someone up on a pedestal that makes it impossible to reach? In that sense, that doesn't exist. That's not a thing. That's self-conscious programming. There's no such thing as leagues in that sense. It's just another way of saying you're being comparative. So first you gotta break that concept of accepting that there are leagues of people to date in, and there's not. Well, yin and yang is a feminine and masculine thing. So right now, you're too much masculine and you need more feminine. You're too reactive. You're seeing things and stapling it as such rather than seeing where it's rooting from, what it's, seeing what all roots from it and what's all sprouting up from it, and then taking out um, what is going on there. No, yin and yang is the feminine and masculine principles, not light and dark. The light and dark thing is a westernized approach to it because westernization of things they didn't take into any sort of accountability about how long it took for the teachings to be made, so they just based it off of what they could get from it, which was not much. Yin and yang is talking about the feminine and masculine principles. The negative, which is feminine, and the positive, which is masculine, the same thing as the battery, the same thing as the magnetics, the same thing as us, the same thing as the world. South being the negative pole, or the feminine pole, north being the masculine or the positive pole. Welcome in. Yeah, so when you're focusing on things within yin and yang, you're focusing on the feminine and masculine. The feminine also relates to the heart. The masculine relates to the mind. The masculine is right. The feminine is left. So pay attention to where you're in your mind and where you're removing the heart from, and go back to that area with a more heartfelt approach. And just see what's drawing up from it. See it from all sides, even if you're not really wanting to see it from all sides. That allows you to be able to move past it. It's no longer going to be something that you won't know how to get over because you've examined it from every possible angle. Even if it were to come up in a later date, you would already be equipped with, oh no, but XYZ, already have everything set up that it wouldn't have any effect. It'd just be another one of those thoughts that flies by and doesn't do anything. But in order to even get to that state, you have to slow down the process enough to get to that point. Well, it depends on how you want to look at it. It depends on how you want to look at it, Vanessa. If you want to look at it from like a genotype sort of way, then you would have to get like your genes, and then it also would depend on like your intelligence and the hygiene of the body and stuff. If you're going to look at it in a sense of, well, it's really going to be what's best for the person, what they're wanting, but like dating people who are out of like certain, like having more of a capacity in one range of an operation than another within a relationship can definitely be hard to deal with. And if you're not prepared mentally to handle that, then I wouldn't go for it. But that would be the only incapability, is just like a lack of knowing how to handle something in that relationship. A lack of like mental control can definitely be an indicator that someone's not right for you. If that's like something that, like, if that's like becoming like a red flag or something for you, then yeah, it definitely can. But it is like good to kind of date around, like, if not like mentally, at least like have the emotional control of the same individual, so that things aren't like going too crazy, or at least someone being a little bit more mature than one of them in one of those ranges is always like a good one to start with. But It all depends on that in that sort of sense. Because if you're trying to go for like something specific, then yeah, you can. Like, you know, if you're going for like specific genetics, and things of that nature, there's like you can go into research and stuff and look at it that way. Because there are people who do that. Um, but anyone can really get with anyone. Um, the only thing holding you back from really getting with anyone is like a mental blockage of like, oh, you can't because XYZ, which is why I didn't get the whole twin flame thing, because it's just like, oh, you have to be with this person. No, you don't. You can be with someone else. You can be with no one. You don't have. You're not. You don't have to be with anyone. You know what I mean? You already have someone. It's the feminine in your heart space, but you're so disconnected from that you can't draw things in. Like that, it's just like it's just a big facade. Like I don't know. When I talk about it, people like call me crazy and laugh, but that's literally the Antichrist agenda being thrown in your face, because the Antichrist agenda is to do everything to get you to be focused on everything other than yourself. Um, and one of the deadly sins is lust, obviously. So what does it put people into? Lust over someone that they don't even know exists, or someone that doesn't even know they ended up liking, you know what I mean? And then creates that. But again, like the more I talk about it, the more upset people are gonna get at me, because I don't play that game. And some people are not aware of it, but once you become aware of it, it's like, oh, okay, so that's cool. But you know, the issue is the separation of you from yourself. Like every issue that you would ever have would be solved truly if the connectivity from yourself wasn't severed. Um, and that happens at childhood, really. No, I'm not in New York. I'm still in Kentucky. I'm in a library right now, but I'm good. Do you know what the ego is? I'll just ask you that. If you don't know what the ego is, then I'm not gonna respond to you. What's the definition of ego? What's the definition of ego? What is ego? Ego's not the driver. That's the incorrect answer. And I know you're fine. It's all good. But yeah, the ego is not the driver, unfortunately. Emotional? Nope. Ego is not emotional either. The ego is I, it's self. You, the observer, are the ego. But no one knows that. Well, I mean, people know it, but incorrect teachings will get you to think that the ego is something completely else. Ego is literally just you. It is the I in between your left and your right. It's right here. This is you. Well, this is you really, because as far as you can see out to your nose. But that's your ego. Ego just translates to I. Me, myself, and I. Me, myself, and I. Of course you can't escape it. You can't escape yourself because you're observing yourself. Silly. Goodness. Goodness. Because if you just look up the origin of ego, like you can look it up. It tells you right there. It's Latin. These words have like actual like definitions and meanings. You just have to look up the origin of them because definitions are societal based. The origin is going to tell you where it roots from. The ego is not a good thing. The ego is not a bad thing either. Your rational mind would like to say that the ego is a good thing, but that's incorrect. Is masturbation bad? Too much of anything is a poison. And doing things within moderation is key. And if you feel as if it's becoming an addiction, I don't know really who to talk to about that necessarily. But you could probably look up what to do about that, like who to talk to or something in that sense. How do you feel about fear? It's not real. Fear is an illusion. It's not real. Danger is real, but fear is not. Because you're not actually scared of it. You're curious. You don't know what it is. But then you create reasons to keep you from going forth with it. See you later.